After a while, the silence between us grew thick with unspoken questions. The twilit sky started to twinkle with early stars, casting a silvery hue over everything around. It felt like the oak tree, with its gnarled roots and sprawling branches, was urging us to discover more. "I suggest exploring the tree's surroundings," I said, breaking the silence. Maya turned to me, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Where do you want to start?" she asked. "There's an old path that leads into the woods," I pointed out. "My grandmother always said it was the path less traveled, shrouded in mystery." Together, we stood and brushed off the grass that clung to our clothes. I led the way to the trail, each step filling me with a strange mix of anticipation and nostalgia. Fireflies danced around us, their luminescent bodies creating a soft, guiding light. As we delved deeper into the forest, the air grew cooler, and the sounds of town life faded away. The leaves rustled gently in the breeze, whispering secrets only the ancient tree could understand. Minutes turned into an hour, and we found ourselves at the edge of a small clearing. There, half hidden under a canopy of ivy, stood an old stone bench. The seat was weathered and cracked, yet looked incredibly inviting under the faint starlight. Maya ran her fingers over the stone, tracing the names etched into the surface. "These are initials," she said, sounding amazed. "Look at all the different pairs." I glanced over her shoulder, noticing the carvings for the first time. Some looked fresh, while others appeared almost eroded by time and nature. "My grandmother mentioned a place where people would come to leave their mark, to immortalize their bonds," I said, feeling a sense of awe. Maya's eyes met mine, and I recognized the same realization dawning in her mind. "Do you think our grandmothers did this too?" she asked softly. My heart raced at the thought. "There's only one way to find out." Maya nodded, her smile growing as we carefully examined each inscription. Each discovery felt like unraveling a chapter in a storybook, gradually revealing the hidden connections that span generations. With every name, every mark, the reason behind our meeting under the oak tree seemed a little clearer. The answers we sought were not simply bound to this place, but to the spirits of those who had connected through it, and maybe, just maybe, we were next in line to add our own chapter to the timeless tale. As we continued to explore the bench, my fingers brushed against a particularly deep engraving, almost hidden by the ivy's tendrils. I cleared away the greenery to unveil a set of initials that made my breath catch. MLRJ. "Maya, look at this," I called out, my voice trembling with excitement. She leaned in closer, her eyes widening as she read the initials. "That's your grandmother's name, isn't it?" I nodded, my heart racing. My grandmother's stories felt closer than ever, each word echoing in my mind. ML stands for Maria Lewis, and RJ must be Rebecca Jameson. Maya completed my sentence, her voice filled with wonder. "That's my grandmother's name." A wave of realization washed over us. Our grandmothers had once sat on this very bench, left their mark, and shared a bond that transcended time. That connection had somehow drawn Maya and me together, leading us to this enchanted spot in the twilight. Maya reached into her backpack, pulling out a small pocket knife. She glanced at me for approval, and I nodded, understanding her intent. With precise, careful movements, we carved our initials into the stone, right next to our grandmother's. As we finished, a sense of completeness settled over us. The starlit sky seemed to embrace us in its silvery glow, affirming that the bond we uncovered was destined. We left the clearing hand in hand, knowing that our discovery was not just about the past, but also a beautiful beginning for the future we were meant to share.